Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of the Chronicles of Mr. I am Mr. Pierre, and I am joined by a former colleague, a person who I've known for many, many moons and many, many years, the one and only Meg Cawley. Meg, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Same. You are one of the oldest, let me not say oldest, but longest knowing teachers that I've had on the pod. We've gone back. Ooh, this is like 10 years, if not more. I think it's 10 years, yeah. Have been at this for quite a bit of time. I met you back in New Haven, Connecticut. And let me start off by saying, how many years have you been a teacher?
I'm about to enter my 12th year of teaching tomorrow. Starts tomorrow.
Awesome. So tomorrow is day one for you.
It is. It feels like
Cool.
the summer flies by.
It always does. It always does. It's never long enough. And in regards to teaching, what exactly do you teach?
So right now I'm currently in the Bristol Public School District in Bristol, Connecticut, and I teach 7th grade language arts.
Excellent. And what brought you exactly to education?
Doesn't it feel like we started just yesterday, Willie?
It does.
So I started my teaching career in New Haven, Connecticut, at Elm City College Prep with you, and that was 12 years ago. I started right out of college. I did Teach for America. I think my journey started maybe my junior year of college. I was an English major, a little unsure of what direction I wanted to go, and my mom's best friend is actually a longtime principal. She just retired this year, and I had some days open in my schedule, so I would go to her school in Quincy, Massachusetts, and I would pull small groups for math, and I just realized, I loved it. Like the atmosphere, the kids, just the community I could see in adults. And I said, if I'm thinking about a job and I'm thinking about work, this is where I wanted to be. I'd always loved kids. I'd done camps, I had babysat, but I could actually starting to see a career. And then I started, my last 2 years of college, I started volunteering a little more in the Boston area with tutoring. And I applied to Teach for America, and the rest is history.
Awesome. And thinking about your journey, thinking about where you are now, if you could go back, send yourself a note, a message, just knowing what you know now and what you've been through in these 12 years now, what would be something that you would tell your younger self?
Yeah, I don't know.
In regards to the career of education.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be a note. It might be more of like an encyclopedia, a book, a U-Haul full of ideas that I could send back there. There are so many things, so many positive things, and I think some things to look out for. I think the biggest thing is you can give all of your professional self to a career, which doesn't have to be the same thing as giving your whole self. And so I think it took me a while to find that balance. I do believe teachers and everyone need to be dedicated, need to love what they do, need to love the kids and the community and the school. But giving all of your professional self doesn't mean all of yourself. I think there was a time when burnout was serious, and I've finally found some of that balance.
Now, you knowing you and me knowing me, because this is a question that I've asked guests a lot. I know my younger self. I couldn't tell me anything. Thinking about the Wooly who worked with you, I just remember you, Dennis Lubin, those first couple of years, and even Aaron and Karen telling me you got to go home. And so knowing what you know, what would have been the thing that you would have said or could have written to yourself to tell you yo, you don't have to go 24/7 all the time. Because I'm sure there are those who are listening, they don't understand those old fogies. That was a different time. We're now in the post-COVID. What could have been those words of wisdom that hopefully would have reached?
Yeah. We were there late, weren't we? I think there are a few things. I think in your early years of teaching, it is I'm not advocating for any young teacher to be staying late to be there all hours. Definitely take care of yourself, but you get better, right? Something I would tell young teachers is you get better, right? You get better at the lesson planning, you get better at the grading, you get better at time management. So there's a learning curve, and I don't think that would have changed for any reason. And I think that's true of a lot of professions, right? But I think I would tell them, like, you have tomorrow, right? Your kids are going to be in your class tomorrow. You have tomorrow, because I think a lot of what kept on me or kept me there is the emotional sense of like, oh, did I mess up today? Did I let the kids down today? Did I, this didn't go right. This didn't go right. And if someone had just kind of, and I think people did, a lot of the older, wonderful people did. But like you said, it's hard to hear at that time, but saying like, hey, guess what? Those same 30 kids are going to be sitting in front of you tomorrow, and you can try again. And I would also tell everyone that you don't have to grade everything. But I think the big thing is, like, you have tomorrow. If you are giving your best and trying your all, like, get that feedback, find someone you can trust, and that's in it with you, and, work on growing and work on getting more efficient and stronger. But you have tomorrow. You have the same kids who will be there the next day.
I love that you have tomorrow, because it's true. You're not going to finish everything. I know RG used to tell me, like, 80% is good. 80% is good. If you're able to finish and accomplish 80% of what you have on your to-do list for the day, whether it be grading, whether it be writing the posi notes, whether it be calling home, whatever it is, if you can do 80%, tomorrow you'll be able to do another 80% in knowing that you're not going to, like, bridge that chasm within a week or within a month or a trimester. Yeah, you have tomorrow is a great gem to hopefully folks are going to pick up.
And I think that to-do list becomes more focused, right? As you go through, as you realize 5 posi calls, 3 calls home, seating charts, grading. That's not a today to-do list.
Yeah.
And start to figure out what really is going to make the impact in that moment. And once you kind of can fine tune that to-do list, things start to kind of fall into place, I think.
As a veteran teacher, how do you support those new teachers who are at your school, who are tomorrow thinking like they've got 101 things going through their brains tonight? They're not going to sleep well because they've got the first day of school jitters. What are you going to look to do tomorrow to ensure, like, hey, maybe one person who's new, they don't pull all their hair out?
I think it's about learning, I think it's about asking. I think really when, like, trying to ask the teacher, like, what is truly going on and what do you want to be going on? And where is the gap between what your vision is and what's happening? Because you have, as teachers, we have 100 messages, 1,000 messages coming at us from all directions, from inside your school, from your district, from the media, from parents, from family, and all of those things can be great things and might eventually be great for you in your classroom. But I think when you step back and say, like, really, like, what is happening? What do I know is happening day to day? What do I want to be happening day to day? And then you can start prioritizing that list. Maybe it's a few relationships with students are falling apart, and that's what we need to prioritize now to get everyone back on track. Maybe you're struggling with content and it's taking up a lot of your mental capacity. Let's sit down here and see what we can parse out for the week. Maybe it's about time management and grading and the things that kind of have to happen outside of the classroom. But I think the first thing is, like, to identify that gap, because otherwise you'll be trying to fix everything and then nothing can get done.
That's great. That's great. Recognize what's the priority, what's truly a priority for that teacher, and then assist and support where you can. Awesome. Knowing that, well, let me ask, is the population of kiddos that you're serving in Bristol similar to the kiddos who were in New Haven, or is it a bit different? Knowing that kids are kids no matter where you are.
7th graders always seem to be like 7th graders. The demographics are a little different, I would say. So Bristol, the breakdown is about, if I'm right at my school, it's about 33% Hispanic Latino, about 15% African American Black. I'm trying to do math in my head. I know you're a math teacher, so I'm trying to catch
That's
me.
48. Yeah.
I think it's about 35-40% white, and then 10% Southeast Asian or other identifying groups of students.
Okay.
So I would say slightly more diverse than we had at Elm City in the meaning of diverse.
Cool. And with the team of other seventh grade teachers, what's that look like in relation to the population of kiddos that you serve? Do they mirror?
No. So
No?
I think that's one thing that Bristol's talking about. And I do appreciate that the conversation is on the table. The school, I would say I don't know exact breakdown, but it feels very majority white at our school in terms of the teaching population. So that's something we talked about.
Oh, my bad. I was going to ask, are they veteran teachers, or is it a balance of?
It's interesting because being here for my third year, it feels like I'm finally going to start to meet people at our school because the first year was very, COVID protocols were in place.
Yeah.
And so this is we are very, so we have about 100 staff members, if I'm right. We just opened a new school in Bristol, so some of the numbers have shifted. But there's around, I think maybe now 70 to 100 staff members, and we're split up on teams. And so feels very like team-based at my school. And they have all been teaching on my team. They've all been teaching for over 30 years. So wow. I'm the baby on the team.
Wow. 12 years is the baby.
But there are a lot of newer and younger staff members in the school. I'm just not exactly sure of the breakdown, but there's definitely things.
What's that like for you? Because you and at least when we were at Elm City, we were the old heads. Like we would see year after year with that one or two new teacher come through. And so now to have 12 years underneath your belt and that be the baby, what's that like?
It's part of the reason I wanted to go into a public school district. So for people who don't know, I worked at a charter school for 9 years, which I loved the kids in the community. But part of the, one thing is at year 10, feeling like a veteran, I knew there was like a lot more out there I could learn from.
Yeah.
And learning from your colleagues and your peers, I think in the teaching career is one of the best ways to learn. So it is something I actively sought out. It's been really awesome. I think, the science teacher on my team, she's been teaching, I think for about 30 years now. And I learn something from her every day. Just even walking into her class, the way she communicates, kids love her and have loved her for so many years. And it's small things, right? At this point in 12, I feel like I got the curriculum. I've, behavior management. There's no better place to learn behavior management for good or bad at Elm City.
Talk about it.
But it's really small things and in really small ways and ways which she cares for the kids and she sees things and just projects she does or ideas that she has. She has so much institutional out that all the teachers on my team do. So it's been really awesome learning from them. They still make me be the grade team leader because they don't want, at 30 years, you're done with those small things. So I'm still the grade team leader there. But instead of instead of it being because of experience, it's experience in the reverse ways. They've been there, done that, don't want to do it anymore. And so it's been really interesting in a great way.
Awesome. One of the things I remember we had a lot back in the day was the joy and looking actively for joy. Like, what could we do to infuse joy in the curriculum? What could we do to infuse joy with our kiddos? Whether it be those posit notes, whether it be the call homes, just the Google spreadsheets of like month 1 is going to be look for this thing. Month 2 is going to be look for this thing. What is bringing you joy at the moment?
In school or in life, or both, mix of both?
All of it, however you wish to respond.
Well, the beach always brings me joy. So personally, I got a lot of time to do. I feel like I filled up on my sun and my ocean, and I'm bringing that calmness into the year. But I think what's bringing me joy is we have a climate team at school, and something that we really worked very purposefully on this year in like on a dual way is to enhance adult culture. I truly believe that adult culture is a driving force of success in a school, but also to really get the community more involved. So we put things on the calendar from the start to get families, to get community at our school, to help showcase some of the awesome things our students are doing, and just to be with each other, right? When you develop those relationships, both with students and with families, you in joyous ways, with movies, with, we have Glow basketball where we just playing games. And I think it's a moment where we can step out and say, like, we're all here for the same reason. So I'm really looking forward to that this year in school.
Awesome. You being a lover of books and writing, are there any books that you've read or have read that you would highly recommend, either for leisure or professional wise?
So I just finished The House on the Cerulean Sea, and it was awesome. I'm not super into the fantastical world. It kind of tugged on my old Harry Potter heartstrings from when I was younger. But it definitely has it takes place in a very pro LGBTQ world. And I'm trying to get this summer, trying to get as many books to represent as many kids and voices and stories that are in my classroom as possible. So that's definitely one I read that I'll be bringing to school. And then I just read Not Your Princess. It's a story of Native American women. I'm trying to get more Native voices into my classroom. So in terms of actual curriculum, it's a collection of short stories and art and poems. And my co-teacher and I are going to add 3 of those stories into our first unit for school. So some of the research and background and history on that. And I'm really pumped about that.
Dope. Thinking of, we're just coming off of summer. We all have our summer playlist. Is there a mini playlist from Meg Cawley? And what would be on that playlist?
I knew you were going to ask this, and this is the one I've been stressed the most about because everyone knows my terrible taste in music. I'm so bad at I go from Fleetwood Mac back to Harry Styles and the new Beyonce soundtrack, just kind of in repeat, those 3.
Can't go wrong with Beyonce. Fleetwood Mac is a classic, and Harry, I personally am particular to him and the other guys together in terms of 1D. But if you love him by himself, that's not, I can't be mad at that at all.
I want to see a Harry Styles on your whiteboard this year.
Will do.
That's my personal request.
Alrighty. So Harry Styles will be coming up on the whiteboard sometime this year. Excellent. Well, Meg Cawley, I am so happy that you could come through on the pod. So happy to be able to chat with you. I'm sure that this will happen again. I'm very interested to hear what you're about and how, in particular, how you just mentioned Not Your Princess in terms of Indigenous and Native voices is something that I think is dope, and would definitely love to hear and see how that goes. So I am Mr. Pierre. She is Meg Cawley. And this has been another dope episode of the Chronicles of Mr. One thing I think a gem in terms of listening to this particular episode that Meg dropped was that you have tomorrow. Any teacher who's listening, know that you will not be able to complete every single thing, nor should you be trying to complete every single thing. It's just not humanly possible. You have tomorrow. If you're able to finish 80% today, you have won. That's a win. Take it, pat yourself on the shoulder, brush your shoulder off. You did well. And thank you very much for listening to this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.